The woman clothed in the sun, a divine symbol misunderstood. Part 1. The opening, shadows and starlight. In the flickering light of our candle, shadows dance upon the walls, mimicking the ancient battles fought not on battlefields of earth, but in the spiritual realms above us. When we turn the pages of the Bible to its final chapter, the Revelation of John, we often find ourselves overwhelmed by the terrifying. We see beasts rising from the sea, dragons sweeping from the sky, and the four horsemen galloping toward the apocalypse. The modern mind, obsessed with doom, often fixates on the darkness. But amidst this cacophony of judgment and terror, there appears a sign of breathtaking beauty. It is a great sign appearing in heaven. A woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. She is radiant, celestial, and agonizingly vulnerable. She is crying out in birth pains and the anguish of delivery. For centuries, theologians, artists, and believers have gazed upon this luminous figure and asked, who is she? Is she the Virgin Mary, the Mother of Christ? Is she the nation of Israel, the cradle of the Messiah? Or is she something else, entirely a symbol of the Church itself, struggling through the dark ages of history? Tonight, we will not merely look at the surface of this image. We will peel back the layers of history, tradition, and prophecy. We will venture into the text to discover why this woman clothed in the sun is perhaps the most profound, and yet the most misunderstood, symbol in the entire New Testament. Join me as we step into the wilderness of Revelation to uncover a truth that has been waiting for us since the first century. Part 2. The Deep Dive, Decoding the Cosmic Drama. The historical and cultural tapestry. To understand this vision, we must first transport ourselves to the barren, rocky island of Patmos in the late 1st century. The Apostle John, an old man exiled for his faith, is writing to a community under siege. The Roman Empire is at the height of its power, casting a long, iron shadow over the early Christians. To the believers of Asia Minor, Rome was the ultimate authority, its emperors claiming to be sons of gods, its legions unstoppable. It is crucial to remember that apocalyptic literature, the genre to which Revelation belongs, is not a code to be cracked by modern newspapers, but a survival guide for the persecuted. It uses cosmic imagery to tell earthly truths. In the ancient world, the sun, moon, and stars were often associated with pagan deities or political powers. Rome itself often used solar imagery to depict its golden age. By presenting a woman clothed in the sun, John is engaging in a subversive act of theological rebellion. He is claiming that the true cosmic order is not dictated by Caesar, but by a drama unfolding in the throne room of God. But to understand the identity of this woman, we cannot look to Rome. We must look backward, to the ancient scrolls of the Hebrews. Decoding the Scripture, the celestial cipher. Let us look closely at the text in Revelation chapter 12. The imagery is specific: a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. Where have we seen this celestial arrangement before? We find the key in the very first book of the Bible, in Genesis 37. There, young Joseph has a dream where the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bow down to him. In that context, the sun represented his father Jacob, the moon his mother Rachel, and the stars his brothers, the patriarchs of the tribes of Israel. Therefore, the primary layer of this symbol becomes clear. The woman is, in a profound sense, Israel. She represents the faithful covenant community of the Old Testament. Why is she pregnant? Because the entire purpose of Israel's existence, through centuries of prophets, kings, and exiles, was to birth the Messiah. As the scripture says, she cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. This reflects the agonizing history of the Jewish people waiting for their deliverer, the groaning of creation described by St. Paul. However, the vision shifts rapidly. She gives birth to a male child, one who is to rule all the nations with a rod of iron. This is undeniably Jesus Christ, the Messiah, referencing Psalm 2. But immediately after the birth, the child is snatched up to God and to his throne. And here is where the misunderstanding begins. If the woman is only Israel, what happens next makes little sense in a linear timeline. The controversies: Mary, Israel, or the Church. This brings us to the great theological debate that has divided scholars for nearly 2,000 years. Many in the high church traditions, Catholic and Orthodox, have viewed this woman as the Virgin Mary, the Theotokos. Indeed, Mary literally gave birth to the Messiah. She literally fled to Egypt, a type of wilderness, to escape Herod, a type of the dragon. The parallels are beautiful and undeniable. In art and iconography, Mary is almost always depicted with the moon under her feet and a crown of stars, cementing this interpretation in the Christian imagination. However, other scholars argue that Mary alone cannot exhaust the meaning of the symbol. The text says the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by God for 1,260 days, a time period symbolizing the era of the Church, the time between Christ's ascension and his return. Mary, the historical individual, did not live in the wilderness for centuries. Furthermore, later in the chapter, the dragon, frustrated that he cannot devour the child, turns to make war on the rest of her offspring, those who keep the commandments of God and hold to the testimony of Jesus. Who are these offspring? They are the Christians. They are us. So, we are left with a paradox. Is she Israel? Yes. Is she Mary? Yes. Is she the Church? Yes. We must understand that the Bible often uses corporate personality, a concept where a single figure represents the whole. The woman is the bridge. She is the faithful community of God spanning all time. She is Israel in the Old Testament, laboring to bring forth the Messiah. She is Mary in the pivot of history, the physical vessel of the Incarnation. And she is the Church in the New Testament, fleeing into the wilderness of the world, persecuted yet protected. The hidden theological meaning, strength and vulnerability. Why is this misunderstood? Because we often try to pin her down to a single identity, missing the grander theology at play. The deepest meaning of the woman clothed in the sun lies in her contrast to her enemy. Consider the red dragon described in the same chapter. He is terrifying, powerful, possessing 7 heads and 10 horns. He represents the chaotic, violent power of empires and spiritual wickedness. He relies on force, on devouring, on accusation. Contrast this with the woman. She is not armored in steel. She is not holding a sword. She is clothed in light. She is in the vulnerable act of childbirth. To the naked eye, she looks defenseless against a dragon. Yet, she survives. This is the hidden theology of the vision. The power of God is made perfect in weakness. The dragon conquers by killing. The woman conquers by birthing life. The dragon dominates through fear. The woman is preserved through divine providence. When the dragon spews water like a river to overtake her, the earth itself opens its mouth to help her. This symbol teaches us that the true protagonist of history is not the shouting tyrant or the violent empire. It is the faithful community, often weak, often in pain, often fleeing, that carries the light of Christ. The sun she wears is not her own glory. It is the reflected glory of God. The moon under her feet symbolizes dominion over the changing times and seasons. She is above the temporary, rooted in the eternal. The misunderstanding lies in thinking she is a victim. She is not. She is the ultimate victor, not because of her own strength, but because she is the bearer of the seed that crushes the serpent's head. Part 3. Conclusion. The wilderness and the wings. As we draw our study to a close, let the image of this celestial woman settle in your mind. We have seen how she weaves together the story of Israel, the obedience of Mary, and the endurance of the Church. She is a reminder that the story of the Bible is a single, unified narrative of redemption. But let us end with a thought for your own journey. The text tells us that when the dragon pursued her, the woman was given the 2 wings of the great eagle so she might fly to the wilderness. The wilderness in the Bible is a strange place. It is a place of danger, yes, a place of scorch and drought, but it is also the place of intimacy. It was in the wilderness that God courted Israel. It was in the wilderness that Elijah heard the still, small voice. It is in the wilderness that this woman is nourished by God. Perhaps you feel like you are in the wilderness right now. Perhaps you feel the hot breath of the dragon, the accusations of the enemy, the pressures of culture, the frailty of your own life. It is easy to feel misunderstood, just as this symbol is misunderstood. It is easy to feel abandoned. But the woman clothed in the sun reminds us that the wilderness is not a graveyard. It is a sanctuary. It is where God prepares a place for us. We are not defined by the dragon that chases us, but by the wings that carry us and the sun that clothes us. In the dark night of this age, when the shadows on the wall seem to grow large and menacing, remember the woman. Remember that even in the barren places, we are surrounded by the stars, and we are never, ever alone. Until next time, may the light of the scriptures guide your path.